Greetings, viewers, and welcome to Common Sense for Practical Solutions. Common Sense for Practical Solutions is brought to you kind courtesy by Perfection TV. Today, our focus is on the conflict between the United States and Venezuela. And the one also in our own backyard in West Africa, to be specific, Nigeria. The question we want to pose is that, could the Nigerian president, His Excellency Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, suffer similar fate that befell the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro? Before we go into that, let me briefly touch on the statement released by Ghana Foreign Ministry today, signed by the Foreign Minister himself, Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. In that press statement released for all media houses or to all media houses, he condemned the adoption of the Venezuela president and request his immediate release and the wife, together with the wife. Now, while we cherish and praise the foreign minister for his stand or the statement, we think his approach would have been a bit different, either by inviting or summoning the United States ambassador to the foreign ministry to express Ghana's concerns and dismay and to inquire as to what next could the international community expect. I think with that, that could have been somehow okay, because of our foreign policy non-alignment. So sometimes you don't go to some certain extent, and I believe to avoid bringing Ghana into direct conflict with the US. You see, in international diplomacy, there is the permanent interest overriding permanent friendship. So I think, Mr. Foreign Minister, you have done your best. But please, in some of these international security and strategic matters, tread cautiously, so that Ghana will not be at a disadvantaged position. Back to our topic. Yes, we asked the question, could the Nigerian leader, His Excellency Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, suffer similar fate that befalls the Venezuela president if Nigeria did not send some delegates to Washington to meet with the Trump administration for some kind of discussion? What would have been the fate of the Nigerian president? As we know, the Trump administration got some sort of intelligence that allege that Islamic jihadists and some other extremist groups were terrorizing, killing, kidnapping people in northwest Nigeria. Besides that, it was getting rampant and a lot of people were dying. especially Christians. And this thing did reach the top United States senators, and they got Trump involved, and Trump decided to take action. What did he do? He gave Nigerians or the Nigerian government some sort of ultimatum. His plan was a total regime change for Nigeria. Trump claimed that because Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Vice President, Senator Kashi Shettima, since they were all Muslims from the same party, were complacent or were conspiring with some of the jihadist movement, and that efforts by the Nigerian government through its army to fight the jihadists were being compromised, even to the extent that before the troops, the federal troops, will move to Sokoto to dislodge the jihadists, information has already been given to them. So either the jihadists will ambush the federal troop, or the jihadists will move. And this thing continued to the extent that inside the Nigerian government, there was alleged conspiracy, making the issue very difficult. And Trump did not take lightly to this, and he wanted Nigeria to act. Besides, a lot of Nigerians were petitioning him. Viewers, what bothers our mind is that the issue in Nigeria did not start from the Tinubu administration. It started from 2020 all the way. It started even before President Goodluck Jonathan. Buhari came and he met it, and this very president used it as a campaign message against Buhari, that he will solve the problem. So why I say that Nigeria, with all its military might, sat aloof and could not actively handle the issue. It came to a time journalists were too afraid to enter Nigeria, especially the northwest state, because the place was now being run like a mafia-run community where crime was now normalized with a sense of insecurity. Can you imagine? Nigeria population doubling, almost 240 million. Almost half of that of the population of West Africa. The spillage could be seriously devastating for other West African sub-regions. So why the Nigerian authority delayed and could not handle this issue? That is what got the Trump administration so much indifference with the Nigerian authority. And one thing we want to understand here, or we may not understand fully, is that we have the ECOWAS community and we have the military force, that of the ECOMOG. And remember, Nigeria and Ghana were the country that really sent domineering forces or troops. The majority, Ghana and Nigeria, were the two countries that had majority troops. and they performed well. The war they went to stop, and later it became peace enforcement. This was even more than the Vietnam War, and it was a good training ground for the Nigerian soldiers, the Ghanaian soldiers, and other West African soldiers that joined them. So what happened that ECOMOG could not be re-established, could not be revived to handle this issue? You know, out of the 37 states in Nigeria, 19 of them are in the north. And out of the 19, 7 of them are in northwest, where the jihadists and extremist groups keeps attacking. For example, you have Jigawa, you have Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, you have Kebbi, you have Sokoto and Zamfara. And these are areas dominated by Hausa and Fulanis, and Islam is the dominant religion. So our question here is, what stops the Nigerian army from doing what is needful? With an army strength of almost 223,000 or 230,000 troops, active soldiers. So I think there are a lot of things West African leaders need to take seriously, because the insecurity is getting rampant in West Africa. So the African heads of states should sit down and do something, because it tells you that the Nigerian government cannot handle this issue alone, and it's becoming a sub-regional problem. So what we are saying is that the Nigerian authorities should take the warning of President Donald Trump very serious and do well to put an end to all the attacks that is going on. And for West Africa, I think they should use the opportunity to re-establish and reinforce ECOMOG for a standby military unit in West Africa to help solve some of these things. For now, whether the US has violated international law, whether the US is right or wrong morally, we are yet to see that for another debate. But I think our own governments in West Africa should take up the matter of security instead of allowing another foreign country or powers like the US. That's what are we for? So that is what Nigerians are craving for, that the Bola Tinubo administration do everything to stop this insecurity that is in Nigeria. They are even calling for his resignation. But for now, we see what is going to happen as the US and the Venezuela issue continues. Stay tuned, for we'll bring you more. Bring your comments, like this page, share, and see. Thank you. I'm Sir Martin.